Here we go. 3,
He's
2,
blasting
1, and hello and welcome to Cabin Fever Radio Novelas. Season number 3, where an isolated group of talented actors and creators come together to stave off their madness and yours and keep us all entertained through dramatic readings of your favorite movies and TV shows, along with original material. This episode is sponsored by Vengeance Turns, an original Cabin Fever radio show and podcast, but we'll hear more about that later in the show. I am your host for the evening, Mr. David Rano, and in this season, we are focusing on feature-length films. And joining us for the reading is Mr. Official Rob Fury, Kelsey Jaffer, Marissa Martin, Jess B, Braxton Ray, Steven Cicerone, Mariah Hart, and David Ross. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And the story that we're reading is GOODFELLAS, written by Nicholas Pileggi and Martin Scorsese, and this is part 2 of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But before we get on into it, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Cabin Fever Radio on all social medias, Facebook, YouTube, and all the rest. The links will be in the description below, as well as the links to the cast members, so you can also check them out and stay up to date with our various shows, especially our original radio novella, Vengeance Turns. The 3rd chapter is available today on Spotify and other podcast platforms. And with all that being said, are we ready to go? Yes?
Yes.
Shall we get right into it? Ho.
Hey, how about you get this thing going already, right?
Yeah, okay.
Easy, Tommy, calm down.
I'm just saying. It's gonna be. I'm just saying.
I gotta do the intro. I gotta do the intro so people know
What are you doing with your hands there?
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Is it a spicy meatball you make?
Hey, put your hands down and start the damn story already. Come on here.
So, you're listening to Cabin Fever Radio. On our last episode, we left off with Tommy asking Henry to go on a double date after they burned down a building. Being mobsters, what can go wrong with a double date with these two guys? And Braxton, if you're ready to go, let's roll on into it.
All right, so let's start this off. And we are in a quiet, plush banquet in a red restaurant. Tommy and Henry are seated on the outside of a U-shaped banquet with their 2 girls, Diane and Karen, seated inside. Diane is being wooed and pawed at by Tommy, and Diane is enjoying every bit of it. Karen has not touched her baked Alaska, and she's looking directly at Henry. And Henry, he's just stirring his coffee.
I had a meeting with Tuddy around 11 o'clock, and here I am, a backup guy for Tommy.
Have more coffee. It'll wake you up.
I couldn't wait to get away. I was ordering dessert when they were eating dinner. When they were having the coffee, I was asking for the check.
Hey, isn't she great? Isn't this great? All right, let's do it tomorrow night, okay?
I couldn't stand him. I thought he was really obnoxious. He kept fidgeting around.
And now, in the parking lot of the restaurant, we see Henry pushing Karen into the car.
Before it was even time to go, he was pushing me into the car.
And now we're at Karen's house. We see Henry hurrying her out of the car.
And then pulling me out. It was ridiculous. But Diane and Tommy had made us promise to meet them again on Friday night. We agreed. Of course, when Friday night came around, Henry stood me up.
And now we're back in the restaurant, and it's just Tommy, Diane, and Karen seated at the table.
We were a trio instead of double date that night, but I made Tommy take me looking for him.
So now we're at the Capstan sidewalk, and it's a very warm night. The mobsters are outside on the sidewalk, and we see them sitting, just, chilling out around the street. We see Henry leave the cab stand when suddenly a car screeches up on the sidewalk directly in front of him.
You've got some nerve, standing me up. Nobody does that to me. Who do you think you are, big shot?
Hey, listen, I didn't know. I swear, I thought it was next week.
Liar!
Take it easy. We can talk about it. So, she's screaming on the street, and I mean loud, but she looked good. I mean, she had these violet eyes. They looked just like Betty Davis's eyes. Everybody said that.
Talk to you? After what you did?
Look, I thought you were going to stand me up, okay? You were bored. You didn't say anything. Tommy was all over me, right? Come on, let me make it up to you.
And now we're in Karen's home.
Button your shirt, quick, and hurry. Ma, this is my friend, Henry Hill.
My daughter says you're half Jewish.
Yeah, well, just the good half.
And now we're at the Copacabana, and Henry gives the keys and a rolled up $20 bill to the doorman at the building across from the street and steers Karen towards the Copa.
What are you doing? What about the car?
Oh, he watches it for me. It's better than waiting at the garage.
And then Henry steers Karen away from the Cope's main entrance and down the basement steps. We see a huge bodyguard just chilling, eating a sandwich in the stairwell. He gives Henry a big hello, which is really nice. We see Henry walk right through the basement kitchen, which is filled with Chinese and Latino cooks and dishwashers. And no one is paying attention. They're just going about their day. Karen's just, being dragged along at this point. Yeah, so, and then eventually we see Henry slap another $20 bills to the waitress that's beside them.
Gave them $20 each.
The captain approaches with champagne.
This is with Mr. Tony over there.
Where? Over there?
Over there, over there.
What do you
They
do?
point at this huge dude, just, I don't know, he was just chilling out over there, so they point at him.
Oh,
What do you do?
I'm in construction.
They don't feel like you're in construction.
I'm a union delegate.
And now we're back at the cargo area. On the loading platforms, we see Henry and Tommy. They're dressed in Air France coveralls, and Henry's carrying this really large suitcase. Then we see Frenchie come through the door, slip Henry a key, and lead them back into the office area near the entrance. Henry goes to the door marked security area that Frenchie points out and opens it with the key. Henry and Tommy go inside. They come out with the suitcase, close the door, and walk right past Frenchie without saying a word. And now we go to the cab stand in the back room. We see the suitcase open on the desk. We see Polly, Jimmy, Henry, and Tommy standing around, and they're all smiles. Henry's just counting stacks of cash all over the desk.
And Air France made me. We walked out of there $420,000 each without using a gun. And we did the right thing.
Henry counts up $420,000 and slides all of these packages in front of Polly. And then everyone's really, really happy. It's clear that this is Henry's moment.
It's a lot of money for a kid. If anyone asks, just say you want to shoot and crap.
And now we're at the beach club with Henry and Karen.
No, you've got to sign for it.
We see all these athletic young people just, walking around and being at, the beach club, if you will.
He lives across the street.
And then we see champagne being sent to the table. And now we're at the nightclub. And we see this Henry and Karen at this luxurious ringside table with Linen, silver, crystal, the works.
One night, Billy Daniels sent us champagne. There was nothing like it. I didn't think that there was anything strange in any of this. 21-year-old with such connections.
And in Henry's car, Henry and Karen are sipping champagne from the Copa glasses in their car parked right outside their house.
He was an exciting guy. He was really nice. He introduced me to everybody. Everybody wanted to be nice to him. And he knew how to handle it.
And now we see Marty Krugman's Queens Boulevard Wig and Beauty Salon. It's a TV commercial. So we see Marty swimming down the length of the pool, surrounded by these models in bathing suits.
He'll stay put, even in a typhoon. And I should know, I'm the president of the company.
And then we see Marty and Henry standing near the television set commercial as the commercial is repeated over and over. Marty is taking bets on the phone and complaining to Henry.
Jimmy's busted my chops. Okay, give him 8 to 5 on Cleveland. She wants 3 points over the VIG. From me. I don't believe this shit.
Marty, please, Jimmy. You borrowed her money. Just pay her.
I didn't agree to 3 points over the VIG. What am I, nuts? I didn't need it that much.
Come on, what are you gonna do? Fight with her? She wants her money.
Fuck 'em. I never paid points. I always did the right thing. Did I ever bust her balls? Did I? I could have dropped a dime 1,000,000 times, and I wouldn't have had to pay dick.
Marty, you're talking crazy. Drop a dime? Call the cops? Don't let anybody hear such bullshit. Why don't you just pay the gal her money? Shut the fuck up.
Henry is starting to raise his voice, and then we see Jimmy come up behind Marty and wrap the long telephone extension cord around his neck. We see Marty's eyes begin to pop. We see Henry try to get his hands between the wire and Marty's neck while trying to get Jimmy to stop.
You got money for your bullshit television, don't you? I gotta watch you swimming back and forth on TV all night long, don't I? You got money for that, but you don't have my money?
Jimmy, he'll be okay. He's good for it. Relax.
Marty is nodding like, yeah, he's going to pay it back. But then the phone rings and we see Jimmy, Henry, and Marty just freeze. Jimmy relaxes the cord. Marty picks up the phone. The extension cord is still around his neck.
It's for you.
Henry takes the phone.
Oh, wait there.
He says and races out of the door. And then we see Karen waiting at the booth as Henry pulls up. And now in Henry's car.
I've known him all my life. He just started grabbing me. He wouldn't stop, and when I hit him across the nose with my shoe, he got mad and shoved me out.
So we're at Karen's parents' house, and Henry's car is parked at the curb.
Oh, go inside. I'll be right back.
What are you gonna do?
Get inside.
We see Henry, as Karen leaves the car, reach under his seat for his revolver. And now we're in the Corvette driveway. We see Henry walk down the driveway to the backyard area where Bruce and 2 of his brothers are talking. Bruce sees Henry and walks toward him. Bruce's brothers are smirking.
What do you want?
They get closer.
Hey, fucko, you want something?
With absolutely no warning, Henry reaches out and grabs Bruce's hair with one hand and pulls his gun out of his waistband with the other. In almost one motion, Henry smashes the gun across Bruce's face. Teeth are falling from Bruce's mouth right now. The 2 brothers, they don't even see the gun, so they start toward Henry, but then Henry continues to pound the gun into Bruce's face because Henry refuses to let go of his hair, and Bruce's brother realizes that Henry has a gun. They freeze and they back off.
Help! Police! He's got a gun! Police, quick! Murderer!
Henry drops Bruce to the ground. Now back in Karen's driveway, we see her standing at the side door as Henry races up and puts something in her hand.
Here, hold this.
Karen's now holding the gun.
I know there are women, like my best friends, who would have gotten out of there the minute their boyfriend gave them a gun to hide. You and your gun? Get out of here. Who needs you? That's what they would have said to him. But I didn't. I've got to admit the truth. Turn me on.
Ooh. Henry hand Karen something, and then we see that Karen's holding this gun.
I know there are women, like my best friends, who would have gotten out of there the minute their boyfriend gave them a gun to hide. You and your gun, get out of here. Who needs you? That's what they would have said to him. But I didn't. Got to admit the truth. Turn me on.
Karen looks around and makes sure no one else sees her. She leans over and hides the gun in the milk box at her feet. We see her hands carefully wrapping around a white linen table napkin around some object. We see this napkin and the object placed on the floor. A man's heel comes down and smashes the object, which turns out to be a wine glass. Who would have guessed? We are at a small Jewish living room wedding with a canopy and a rabbi, and it was Henry who broke the glass as part of a ritual. Karen's parents are glumly looking on. Henry's parents are even glummier. Glummer is
Glummier.
the next. Yep, that's the way to say it.
They're both upset.
Henry's brother in the wheelchair and looks pleased. So now we're in the Chateau catering hall. We see Cicero, Frenchie, Marty, Tommy, and all of their wives and fiancés. Everyone's present and accounted for. We see Henry and Karen's parents sitting at different tables. Cicero's presiding some sort of line, introducing Karen to the family.
It was like he had two families. The first time I was introduced to them all at once, it was crazy. Holy and his brothers had lots of sons and nephews, and almost all of them were named Peter or Paul. It was unbelievable. There must have been 24 Peters and Pauls at the same wedding. Plus, they were all married to girls named Marie, and they named all their daughters Marie. By the time I finished meeting everybody, I thought I was drunk.
And then we see Polly hand Karen an envelope.
Here, this is for you.
Polly, you shouldn't.
This envelope has hearts and flowers and a clear window in front through which we can see a neatly folded roll of $100 bills. Karen looks up and sees that everybody before her all has these envelopes. She is getting money. And then we see Henry has opened a plastic supermarket shopping bag under the table, and he's just stuffing these envelopes in as Karen is accepting them. Like I said, they getting money. And then finally, they're going to get up to dance.
My bag. My bag.
What bag?
The bag with the envelopes.
Oh, that. Yeah, don't worry about that here. No one here is going to take that.
Ooh, and in Karen's mother's house, we see Karen awake in a chair. Her father's at the sofa asleep, and her mother is looking out the window.
He didn't call?
He's with his friends.
What kind of person doesn't call?
He's a grown man. He doesn't have to call every 5 minutes.
If he was so grown up, he'd get you two an apartment.
Don't bring that up. You're the one who wanted us here.
Look, he's got the whole house in an uproar. He's got your father upset. Good thing he doesn't have to go to work in the morning. Is this what he deserves?
Ma, please. You're driving me crazy.
Driving you crazy? Don't get me started. You're here a month and sometimes I know he doesn't come home at all. What kind of people are these?
Ma, stop. What do you want me to do?
Do? What can you do? What did you expect? He wasn't Jewish. Did you know how they live? Your father would never stay out of this late without calling. In 30 years, he never stayed out all night.
Daddy's like knocked on the sofa.
Stayed out? Daddy never went out at all.
And now it's 6:30 in the morning, and we finally hear a car door open up in front of the house. Karen and her mother they open the door, and we see Henry, and he's a bit drunk, but Karen is really happy to see him.
Where were you? Where have you been? Why didn't you call? We were all worried to death. A married man doesn't stay out like this.
Henry looks at them, turns around, gets back in the car, and drives away. Karen cries. Karen's father finally wakes up and comes to the door.
Normal people don't live this way.
Wow. And now we're in the living room of Jimmy and Mickey's house. Karen and most of the women we saw at the wedding are at this cosmetic party that's happening. There are large cardboard posters with models, the whole thing.
We weren't married to 9-to-5 guys, but the first time I realized how different was when Mickey had a hostess party.
Mickey is brushing another woman, Angie's, hair while showing off this, the new brush.
Angie, sweetheart, you want it, Fluff?
Oh, he's the one with the hands. I like to smack him in his face.
The redhead guy? He looks like a farmer.
Son of a bitch, I swear, you can't go through the gates without his hands. I told you, keep your fucking hands off, you son of a bitch, or I'll fucking cut them off.
All of the women are laughing now.
He don't know how lucky he is. If I just mentioned it to Vince, I don't even know.
That's the problem. How can you mention it? Vince would kill him.
You think I don't know? You think I like to keep this inside? But I gotta, or he'll fucking kill him. The miserable bastard, he'll be there for life. It's disgusting what you have to put up with, Look
at Gianni's kid.
What? What happened?
The oldest one. He was in an argument, a lousy $10 card game. The kid pulls out a gun. It goes. The kid gets killed. The grandmother hears it and finds out he's been arrested. She has a heart attack. She drops dead right on the spot. Now, Gianni's got a husband and son in jail and a mother in the funeral parlor.
But he was always a bad kid, that one.
No, come on. It was the younger one that was the bad one.
They had bad skin and wore too much makeup. I mean, they didn't look very good. They looked beat up. You never saw teeth like that where I was growing up. And the stuff they wore was thrown together and cheap. A lot of pantsuits and double knits. And they talked about how rotten their kids were and how beaten them with broom handles and leather belts, but that the kids still didn't pay any attention. When Henry picked me up, I was dizzy.
Now we're in a bedroom at Karen's mother's house, and they're getting ready for bed.
And before we go into the bedroom, we're going to do a quick little ad break. Before we continue, just a super quick one. This episode is sponsored by Vengeance Turns.
These terms.
An original radio show and podcast entitled Vengeance Turns. Takes place in 1876 California. A young woman loses everything, including her beloved husband, son, and daughter, in a violent attack that leaves her for dead, and with a lust for bloody vengeance that turns her into a murderous vigilante. The third chapter, Falcon Reborn, in its fully produced form that includes special sound effects and an original score, is premiering today. You can listen to Vengeance Turns on all major platforms such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Get the direct link to the third chapter in the description below, or simply visit vengeanceturns.com. vengeanceturns.com. What are you waiting for? Go check it out after the show and let us know what you think. And if you enjoy, share. That is vengeanceturns.com. Thank you, Vengeance Turns. And now, back to the bedroom.
I don't know if I could live that way. What if, God forbid, you go to prison? Mickey said Janny's husband...
Are you nuts? Jeannie's husband went to the can just to get away from her. She's such a pain in the ass. Look, nobody goes to jail unless they want to go to jail, okay? They make themselves get caught. They don't have things organized. I have things organized with these guys. The only people who get caught are stick-up guys. And you know why? Because they fall asleep in the getaway car, Karen, okay? We're not going to jail. Oh, listen, we're going to make real money for the first time. It's business. Do you think I'm going to walk away from that?
Henry begins to hug Karen.
After a while, it all got to be normal. None of it seemed like crimes. It was more that Henry was enterprising, that he and the guys were asking a few bucks hustling while other men were sitting on their asses waiting for handouts. Our husbands weren't brain surgeons. They were blue-collar guys, and the only way they could get extra money, real extra money, was to go out and cut a few corners.
And now we're in a truck. And in the truck is Henry and Tommy. And Tommy's carrying this brown paper bag as though it were a gun. And he's pulling a driver out of his truck and shoving him toward another mobster who pushes him into the back seat of a car where we see yet another mobster. Henry and Tommy get into the truck. The truck drives off. And in there, we still see the paper bag in Tommy's hand. It explodes in a red burst as he wildly fires shots into the air. And Henry's laughing.
And we were also very close. I mean, there were never any outsiders around. Absolutely never. Being together all the time made everything seem even more normal.
In Henry's doorway now, we see Karen looking at a search warrant being shown to her by detectives who are being very polite, and the children, though, are looking on as well.
There was always a little harassment. They always wanted to talk to Henry about this or that. They'd come with their subpoenas and warrants and make me sign. But mostly they were just looking for a handout, a few bucks to keep things quiet, no matter what they found. Can I make you some coffee?
The detective smiles. They take off their hats. They walk into the house where Karen and the kids resume watching TV.
I always asked them if they wanted coffee. Some of the wives, like Mickey Conway, used to curse at them and spit on the floor. Imagine, she'd spit on her own floor. That never made any sense to me. It was better to be polite and call the lawyer.
And the detectives continue to go through the house. And then we're in the dining room of Jimmy Conway's house. We see Jimmy and Mickey and Henry and Karen and Tuddy and a whole lot of other people too. They're just all in this house. They're all wearing party hats and blowing out the candles on 9-year-old Jesse James Conway's huge layer cake.
We all did everything together, and we were always the same crowd. Anniversaries, christenings. We only went to each other's houses. The women played cards. When my kids were born, Jimmy and Mickey were always the first at the hospital.
We see this view of the hospital with a beaming Jimmy and Mickey and Henry embracing against the window of the maternity hospital while this nurse holds up a baby. Mickey's in tears.
When we went to the islands or Vegas for vacation, we always went together.
And then we see them on vacation with their drinks with the tiny umbrellas in it and pineapples sticking out.
It got to be normal. I got to where it was even proud that I had the kind of husband who was willing to go out and risk his neck just to get us the little extras.
And now we're back in Henry and Karen's bedroom. We see Henry getting undressed, hanging up his jacket, and as we see him take off his coat, there are thick packets of $50 and $100 bills that are wedged all around his waist.
But I got my mother to watch the kids tomorrow night.
And now we see Karen's bedroom closet and all of her dresses and pantsuits, blouses, spurs.
I told you, I can't make it.
And in the kitchen, we see Henry shaved and dressed in yet a different suit. he is on his way out.
I'm gonna need some money.
How much?
Karen holds her thumb and forefinger about an inch apart. And we see Henry take an inch and a half of money from the inside of his jacket pocket, though, and slam it on the table and leave. He was on it. All right, and now we're in the suite. And the suite is this plush, over-decorated cocktail lounge up on Queens Boulevard. And we hear Sergio Franchi on the jukebox.
For most of the guys, killing got to be accepted. They were routine. Murder was the only way everybody stayed in line. It was the ultimate weapon. You got out of line, you got whacked. Everybody knew the rules.
We see Tommy smashing a gun into Billy Bat's head.
But sometimes, even if people didn't get out of line, they'd get whacked. Hits just became a habit for some guys. It didn't take anything to get yourself killed.
And then we see the silhouettes of Tommy, Henry, and Jimmy stuffing Billy's body into a truck.
Guys would get into arguments over nothing, and before you knew it, one of them was dead. They were shooting each other all the time. Shooting people was a normal thing. It was no big deal.
And now we see Tommy's mother's kitchen and breakfast.
You didn't really have to do anything, and nobody was immune. You just had to be there.
And then we see Tommy slashing a shovel into soft, bloodied mattresses, a cover in the trunk of the car.
Yeah, but we had a problem with Billy Bats. This was a touchy thing. Tommy had killed a made man. Billy was part of the Gambino crew, and he was considered untouchable.
And now we see them burying Bats.
Before you could touch a made guy, you had to have a good reason. There had to be a sit down, and you better get an okay. Otherwise, you were the one getting whacked.
And we see Henry slamming down the trunk. And now we're back in the Copacabana. They're watching a late show. There's a table with waiters. You know, Henry's there, Tommy, Frankie, Joe. They all sit down. And in the background, there's the mobsters, the showgirls, all of that.
A Saturday night was for wives, but Friday night at the Cope was always for girlfriends.
At Henry's table, we see Henry is sitting next to Linda. Tommy is with his girl, and everyone's booed up.
Last week I saw Sammy Davis. What a performer. You gotta see him. You gotta catch him. He does imitations, and I swear you'd think it was the real people.
Yeah, the way he moves, it's unbelievable. I mean, you could understand how a white girl could fall for him.
What are you talking about?
Well, I don't mean me, not me. I just mean, you know, you can see how some girls could. Like that Swedish girl. You can see how she fell for him. You can see how he has this personality.
Yeah.
And then we see Bobby Darin singing. And now we're at Linda's apartment. Henry's convertible pulls up. He's walked around, arms all around Linda, and we see them go into the building. And now we're at Cicero's house. There are lots of relatives and friends around, you know, Henry, Karen there. Karen is holding the new baby, and, you know, Henry has his 2-year-old daughter by the hand. So everyone's excited to see this baby.
What did you hear about the thing?
What thing? The Brooklyn thing?
No. The guy from downtown.
The guy from over near where Christy lives?
No, the other one. The one who disappeared up the block from Christy. The one they made a beef on?
Oh, him!
You know the one I mean.
Yeah, oh yeah, sure, yeah. I know the guy. Yeah.
That Bats was a miserable fuck, but his people are looking still for him.
Oh, yeah, I know. I even looked into it myself. Nobody knows what the fuck happened to him. He even came into the club that one night, and after that, just nothing.
Well, you keep your eyes open. They're busting my balls looking for that fuck.
And now we're back in the suite. Henry and Linda are there with the crew. Jimmy calls Henry aside.
Hey, we got a problem. That thing we took care of upstate?
Yeah, Paulie was just talking about that.
Yeah, well, we gotta dig him up again.
What?
The guy just sold the property. They're gonna build condominiums, and I don't want anybody dicking up that little bastard.
It's been 6 months.
Still better than letting somebody find him.
If Paulie finds out, we got problems.
No, fuck Paulie. If Bat's crew finds out we whacked him, we got real problems.
And now we see Henry's car parked on a deserted country road. It's a hot night too. The car trunk is open. Henry, Jimmy, and Tommy, they're getting their shovels. Henry, he's sickened by the stench, and he's wearing a handkerchief over his nose and his mouth. But Jimmy and Tommy, they all right. And then we're at Henry and Karen's home. Henry is hosing out the trunk of his car, and he has all the mats, the spare tires, the jack out of his trunk, just trying to hose it down.
What happened to the car?
I hit a skunk.
He says, and then sprays a bottle of perfume and slams the trunk shut. Now, in Linda's apartment, in the bedroom, Linda's showing off her new apartment to the girls, which includes Robin, a beautiful dark-haired girl. We see Henry, Tommy, and a bunch of other people. They're just chilling in the background. The apartment's decorated wonderfully. There are these thick velvet-covered sofas, and it's a really nice place. We see Linda lean over and show her girlfriends, including Robin, the bed ruffles.
I set up Linda in an apartment. We'll get to Robin. I set up Linda in an apartment around the corner from the suite. That way I was able to stay over a couple of nights a week. Karen was home with the kids anyway. Plus, she never asked any questions anyway.
And then we see Henry strangling the owner of a bridal shop with his own tie, while Tommy and Jimmy just laugh.
Linda and I were having so much fun, she started screwing up at work, and I had to straighten out her boss a little.
And then back in Linda's apartment in the bedroom, we see Linda suddenly lifted off of her feet and thrown onto the bed. We see Henry and the girls laughing, and Henry lifts Linda off her feet. He winks at Robin, who smiles back. And in the suite, there's a basement card game happening with glazed walls, ornate scones. It's a nice room, okay? We see Tommy looking at everything. He throws his jacket open to reveal a gun tucked into his belt.
Spider, come in. Give me a 7 and 7.
The spider gives him the drink.
Spider, what did I say? Did I say I was dying over here? Come on, move it, walk, dance. Don't walk, dance. Come on. Did you ever see in the cowboy movies where they make them dance? Did you see the Oklahoma Kid, the only cowboy movie Cagney ever made, all right? Come on, dance. You fucking vomit kid!
Tommy, don't fuck around.
Yeah, fucking dance, you fucking prick!
Oh, Tommy, come on, put the gun away. Relax, man, you're getting nuts. You're having so much to drink, it's like it's getting wild in here. Put the gun away, Tommy.
The gun explodes. And now we're at Henry's house in the evening. We see keys flying out of the window. Henry is furious.
I gotta go out.
Not tonight, you're not. Not without the car keys, you're not.
Are you nuts?
I don't care. Something's going on.
That again?
You're a liar. I look at you and I know you're a liar.
We see Henry throw a lamp. He throws it at Karen, but he misses.
I need some air. I need a little peace, at least at home.
We see Karen sit down on the bed and just begin to cry. We hear the children crying too. Back in the suite at the card game, we see Snyder with a bandaged foot, and Henry walks in. Jimmy, Tommy, and some mobster, they're already playing cards, and Tommy is already drunk.
Hey! Look at this! That fucking Fred Astaire back from the wars! Can you believe this fucking guy? That bandage is bigger than his fucking foot!
He's ignored. And the card game is just still going on. And then finally, we see the spider come over with more drinks.
Spider, you're full of shit. Even with that fucking foot, I bet you could dance.
Spider again is ignoring him.
Come on, Spider. Come on. Let's see you fucking dance.
Spider puts down the drink and again just tries to ignore him.
Hey, Spider, that's very good. Did you hear, Spider? The kid's got balls. See, the kid's got balls. He's a good kid.
He's going back to the bar now.
You gonna take that shit from this punk? This fucking lowlife? This kid's got bigger balls than you'll have any day. Just got shot in the foot by you and you tells you to go fuck yourself. He ignores you. Can't believe this shit. Can you believe this shit? Tommy, you're gonna take that shit from a punk?
And everybody is just laughing at him. And before anyone has any ideas of what's about to happen, Tommy pulls out one of his 2 guns and puts 3 shots in the spider's chest.
You fucking piece of shit!
Henry is upset by the shooting.
After Billy Bats and Spider, everything was just going crazy. Not just our crew, but everybody.
And now we're back in Linda's apartment. We see Karen pressing the buzzer while holding 2 hysterical children.
Open up! I know you're in there! You stay away from my husband! She wouldn't open the door. I rang her bell, still she wouldn't open. I rang her bell for 2 hours and she kept on hiding.
In Henry's house, in his bedroom, we see him sleeping. Henry looks up and we see a gun aiming through right onto him. We see the bullets in the chamber.
Henry, wake up.
What's the matter with you? Are you crazy?
Crazy? I'm crazy enough to shoot you and her. But still, I couldn't hurt him. How could I hurt him? I couldn't even bring myself to leave him.
Henry moves the gun carefully away from his head. And then says,
Nothing.
all right, cool.
Nah, he's chill. He's just like, get the gun out.
The truth was that no matter how bad I felt, I was still very attracted to him. Why should I give him to someone else? Why should she win?
And the truth was, no matter... Oh, sorry. Son of a bitch. Nailed it.
We see Henry slap Karen across the face and knock her off the bed.
I don't need this bullshit. I got enough to worry about getting whacked on the street. I got to worry about a gun at home.
Then we just see Karen crying.
I swear on my mother I should kill you. You are fucking crazy.
Henry hits her and he's about to hit her again, but he stops. He turns his back on her and opens the door of the closet, grabbing some clothes as if getting ready to pack. He opens
Go get me some cigarettes.
the door.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh, did he freeze?
Did he?
I can hear you. There it is. Okay, there's everybody. Sorry,
I need this
there's a thing going on.
Everybody hear that, Mariah? Nope.
Yeah.
I thought somebody was that upset about the
No,
stream
that
slow,
wasn't-
and I was like, no.
That wasn't me. Braxton's completely frozen. He was like in the middle of talking.
Bro-
I know,
Yeah.
but when you said no, it like looped it. It was like no.
Yeah. By the way, David Ross. Hold on, time out. Are we on standby, Mr. David Rano, or no?
A quick little standby, see if he comes back.
There he is.
Oh, no, man, he's gone.
yes.
God dang
This
it.
is the podcast from hell today.
Yeah, like, seriously,
Yeah.
you know, David, like, when you had no idea it was your line, and
He just, nope.
it was so great.
Yeah,
Like, nope,
I
I
don't
got
say
nothing to say.
anything.
I ain't doing nothing. I think everybody just silently busted up laughing.
Sorry.
And you're like, oh, shit, yeah, I got something. Never mind.
I totally missed that one. That was on me.
I
I thought that was
think-
her
Oh my
line at
God,
the
I'm
top
back.
carried
What?
over.
You're back, you're back.
There it is.
Yay.
Yay.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened.
No,
worries.
dude, Braxton, this is the most glitchiest feed we've ever had, but
Yeah.
possibly the most hilarious feed we've ever had. So,
The-
this is what
The
happens, ladies
edited
and
version
gentlemen.
will be smooth. The edited version will be
Hey,
smooth.
that's good.
I would really
But-
like to keep the
We-
Murat. No.
No.
Yeah.
no.
I know.
We should have two versions, Mr. David Rano.
Yeah.
We should have the edited version, and we should have
And the raw version.
and the
Just
raw version
raw.
for continuity.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I
people
need-
would fucking love this stuff.
The executive producer's cut.
Yeah, I know, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And that's the best
Co-founder
part. That's the best part of the live streams. Thank you, audience, for tuning into our glitchy stream today. For some reason, today is just the day.
Can we go back like a bit?
We could, go start back at the top of page 61. I think that's where it all pretty much
Yes,
went
yeah.
haywire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So introduce that again, and then we'll continue.
Okay, so we're in Linda's apartment. And Henry opens the door, and Paul and Jimmy enter, and they walk in the kitchen, and the place is just a mess.
Honey, go give me some cigarettes.
Linda just leaves without saying anything.
Karen's come to the house. She's very upset. It's no good. You gotta straighten this all out.
Things gotta be calm right now, and Karen's so high strung. She's with Mickey. She's with Mickey every day. Who knows what she's gonna do?
Jimmy and Tommy were supposed to pick up something in Tampa for me this weekend. You go with Jimmy instead. Get away for a few days. Relax.
And now in the back of a car, we see a man's bleeding face being punched.
Enjoy yourselves. Have a good time. Then when you get back Monday, you go home to Karen.
And then we see Jimmy and Henry beating this man who is between them.
I ain't got it. I ain't got it. I swear.
And they just beat him more.
I can't. I can't. I swear.
Finally, they look at each other. And now we're by the Tampa Zoo. We're at the Tampa Zoo, and we hear these lions. And then we see Jimmy and Henry drag the bookie out of the car by his legs just outside of the zoo.
I'm gonna feed this bastard to the lions.
What lions? I'm not going near any lions.
We just gotta shove him over the moat.
So now we're changing scenes into a roadside phone booth. It's still night.
They
And
must
on a bleeding man on a phone booth with Jimmy and Henry waiting outside.
They must really feed each other to the lions down there, because that guy gave the money straight up, and we got to spend the whole rest of the weekend at the track. But then, couldn't believe what happened.
We see a close-up of a newspaper picture with Henry and Jimmy getting arrested.
When we got home, we were all over the papers. At first, I didn't even know we got picked up.
Yeah, the newspaper photo of a man they begin arrested with his head bagged, bondage.
Ambushed.
Bandage.
Bondage.
Bondage. Bandage.
His head, no, it's
Sorry.
we got the zipper on the mouth too. It's I
For
think
sure.
it's a bondage one. It says that.
Okay.
Anyway, then I found out that the guy that we roughed up turned out to have a sister who was working as a typist for the FBI.
Now we change over to the government office.
Who
where
could
a
believe it?
sobbing typist, sorry about that, we're a sobbing typist surrounded by men in business suits.
Who could believe it? Of all the fucking people, she gave up everybody. Jimmy, me, even her brother.
And at the courtroom, we see Henry and Jimmy before the judge.
It took 6 hours to bring us in guilty. The judge gave Jimmy and me 10 years like he was giving away candy.
And now we're at the bar. Timmy, Marty, Joe, Stax, Frenchie, and all the rest of the gang are all having drinks with Henry before he goes off to prison. And then we suddenly see Karen comes charging into the bar. She is angry. She has attracted Henry down.
I thought you were supposed to turn yourself in at 10 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, I'm just having my last few drinks.
I've been all over town. I got a call from the bondsman. He says they're going to rescind your bail if you don't show up and sign in right now. They're going to take away the house.
Ah, shit.
Henry looks at his pals, orders his last drink, a screaming eagle, for a while, and gently touches the tips of Karen's fingers. He swallows his drink, hugs, and kisses a tearful Karen, walks out the bar to a long, white, stretched limo waiting at the curb.
Hey, say hello to Jimmy.
Henry gets into the rear seat of the limo.
Okay. Now you can take me to jail.
Bum, bum, bum.
Take a private chat. Take no chat.
Thank you, everyone who is watching us live but can't hear us, because you can still see our faces, just not our audio, hence glitches.
Exactly. Just check the chat.
I'm looking.
I want to.
I can't right now. I have plans like
Tomorrow, then.
Tomorrow, yeah.
That's pretty much how it's been a rough Goodfellas Part 2, but I want to thank you for
It's a rough movie.
Us. It's a rough movie.
Fair enough.
It really is a rough movie, because especially for this one, brings you to tears because Henry is going to jail, and what will happen to Karen and the kids when they're at home. But again,
they're going to hit the lottery.
Thank you for joining us for Cabin Fever Radio Novelas. You can get more information on the shows and some upcoming shows at cabinfeverradio.com. And if you wish to support us and receive exclusive content like our post show, go to patreon.com/cabinfeverradio. And with your support, we can get better gear so we can stop having glitches. But that's also part of the fun. On that note, again, I want to thank Rob for being here. I want to thank Kelsey for being here. I want to thank Marissa for texting me while all this was going on, letting me know some of the glitches that were happening. I want to thank Jess for being here. I want to thank Steven for being here. I want to thank Mariah for just chilling in the corner, just like staring at everybody. I want to thank David for being here and having the best name of the group, just saying. And I want to thank Braxton, who got cut off towards the end, but he was really great doing the action reads. I wish I could do him as good as he is. But again, thank you for joining us. This is Cabin Fever Radio. We are signing off for tonight.
Catch us on the post show.
Post show.
Post show. See you at the post show.
Post